A cacophony of agonizing wails and muttered prayers echoed across the room. Little Samuel's once rosy, bright complexion was now pale, waxy, and drained. The entire room swayed to the very beat of fatigue. Harriet Beecher Stowe stared at her son with a helpless pain swarming in her eyes, the pain of a mother waving a final goodbye to her baby. A pain, Stowe later realized, slaves had to go through every day of their lives. Stowe lived in Cincinnati, Ohio, which was right across the river from Kentucky. It was there that she saw the cruelties of slavery firsthand. She had always been an active member of social affairs, as her entire family was well-educated and strong-minded. Stowe's father, Reverend Dr. Lyman Beecher, was a notable Calvinist preacher. In the 1820s, he preached against slavery in response to the Missouri Compromise. The death of her son in 1849 made Harriet Beecher Stowe think deeper about the pains slaves must endure, more specifically, when they are separated from their family. These thoughts haunted her throughout her adulthood, but the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 was the last straw. This law was part of the Compromise of 1850. It decreed that the government had to assist slave owners reclaim their fugitive slaves and was terribly biased. It sparked the anger of many abolitionists who called it the Kidnap Law. Fueled by her anger, Stowe, who had always been an intelligent and knowledge-loving woman, decided to write a book to induce people to become aware of the realities of slavery. This book, which so heavily impacted society's beliefs about slavery, was titled Uncle Tom's Cabin. Uncle Tom's Cabin created a feel of uneasiness between the South and the North that eventually created a civil war, and the Civil War eventually ended up costing the greatest number of casualties in American history. Harriet Beecher Stowe hunched over her desk and scribbled and crossed out idea after idea, searching for the perfect way to start her story. It was 1851 in the Midwest, and Stowe was about to publish the first installment of Uncle Tom's Cabin in the National Era. No one was expecting it to be a success, maybe 3 columns at most. After all, not only was her story anti-slavery, which was unpopular at the time, but it was also written by a woman. Stowe understood the circumstances, but even if she could only reach a few hearts, if her writing revealed the truth to anyone at all, she would be satisfied. Little did she know the influence and chaos that her column would radiate, or how it would alter the minds of America. Uncle Tom's Cabin would be the first gunshot in the bloodiest war in American history. It would be the first step in setting humanity free. So what was it about this book that churned through every mind that read it? What made this story so influential in America's history of slavery that it created a civil war? Probably the biggest factor would be that Uncle Tom's Cabin made Northerners realize the cruel realities of slavery. Most Northerners, not unlike Stowe, had never been to a slave state or seen the horrors of slavery. They had never understood just how terribly slaves were treated, and Uncle Tom's Cabin sent a wave of shock over civilians nationwide. Stowe's book started a rise of abolitionists in America as more people began to join the anti-slavery movement. Her passionate writing struck a chord in the nation so greatly that upon meeting Harriet Stowe in 1862, President Lincoln stated, "So this is the little lady who made this big war." And indeed she was. Another reason Uncle Tom's Cabin was so impactful was that Stowe approached the topic of slavery morally, by religion. She depicted slavery as being against God's will. This touched upon citizens' belief in religion by portraying the act of slavery as wrong, for the first time to many people. Slavery would continue to be viewed this way as more and more people read Stowe's book and spread her abolitionist message. With the book Uncle Tom's Cabin, Stowe created a sense of empathy towards slaves, humanizing them and proclaiming that slaves were not objects in possession, but actual human beings. The purpose of her book, to awaken sympathy and feeling for the African race, was achieved. The book changed Northerners' perceptions on slavery forever. Harriet Beecher Stowe encountered numerous traumatic events in her life, but instead of breaking apart, she used her powerful writing to fight for the mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters who were tragically split apart by slavery. Her story affected everyone who read it, and soon enough others were fighting alongside her. Guns and swords can break flesh and bone, but ink on paper can break a heart, and so Stowe fought with her own weapons. She used her mind and words to shout for freedom for those who knew it was long overdue.